This is Shelley Kraft coming to you live on SNN Live. We're at the Growth Capital Expo, Caesars Palace, Las Vegas, 2016. I have with me Chris Lahiji, LD Micro. Chris, welcome back to SNN Live.
Thank you, and congratulations on a fantastic event.
Thank you, Chris. So, Chris, I thought you'd come up and we'd have a little discussion about why does an election year turn out to be different from every other year in the 4-year cycle for investors, particularly in the microcap market?
I think microcap probably has more opinionated people than probably any other financial segment. I mean, guys are very obdurate about their views, and this election year has been more politically charged than anything that I've ever witnessed in my life. I mean, you know who your candidate is, whether it's Clinton or whether it's Trump, or for someone like me who's a libertarian, and no one cares about us. So let's go back kind of to the.
Well, you can still vote for Rand Paul in certain states, can't you?
Yeah, but I love his dad. I don't really like Rand. And, as a libertarian, it was one of these things where you would donate a little bit of money and the presidential candidate would call you the next day. They've really grown on the political ranks too. So it's just unfortunate because in this country, they've really made it into a two-party system. It's one of these things where the Democrats will only talk with the Republicans and vice versa. I think they did a 50-year pact for the next 10 to 12 elections where they won't bring a third party in their debates. And this is the greatest democracy in the world. I just find that, rather hypocritical.
So do you think that most of the money that's being raised for candidates are former stockbrokers?
No. I mean, listen, this is what I'm going to tell you. And of course, this is career suicide for a lot of people. But I guess that's why people like me and dislike me, because I usually tell my viewpoints on everything. I don't think it's going to be brokers, because I think that if Trump wins, God only knows what will change. And I know if Hillary wins, it's probably going to be a continuation of what we saw with Obama. So the logic is that, nothing really will change, in my opinion, in the microcap space. There needs to be a change. I've said this before, I still think that you can have laws that protect people but showcase a little bit of leniency for companies to go public. And let's not make a mistake. The last 3-4 years have been really tough for microcap. And what I've been saying is we need more ideas, we need more profitable companies, and we need people to make money in the space. No one's really making any money. Now, don't get me wrong, there's companies that have gone up and people have made some, but I don't feel the same way I felt in 04 and 05 and 03 and 10 and 11 and 12, where there was money to be made if you made the right investments. Since then, it's been really, really hard. I mean, you have some of the best stock pickers in the game here, and they haven't had really good, records over the last 2-3 years. Is it a basis of the environment, or, are they losing their ability as stock pickers? I think it's more environment than anything else.
But you're not making any money in fixed income.
But fixed
fund
income,
managers.
But you see, the thing is, fixed income is relatively predictable. It's funny. A lot of people. We're in Vegas, right? So a lot of people ask me, Chris, do you gamble? Do you gamble? What's your game? Is it craps? Is it blackjack? Is it baccarat? Dude, my game is microcap. So it's hard for me to enjoy Vegas because I gamble every day. But the consensus is go to any party. Go to any social gathering. No one will talk about stocks.
I have a great idea. Suppose you took your index and you put it into a slot machine, and you could win money gambling on microcap stocks in a slot machine setting.
Look,
what's wrong with that?
Shelley, I would rather, and this is for all viewers, I would rather gamble in Vegas than invest in microcap if I knew what was going to happen in the last few years. If somebody told me these are going to be the numbers, I have a better shot at making money in Vegas than I do in the stock market. But again, since mid-February, The index has risen about 25, 30%. There's a lot of money that's come in. Last couple of weeks have been rough. Today was rough too. But it's really nice to see that there is some interest again percolating. And I'm hoping that even though it's going to be an election year and there's going to be a lot of vacillations, I still think I think you're going to have winners. So going back to this political thing, if Trump wins, God knows. If Clinton wins, my take is with Clinton is she may be the most pro-big business candidate we've ever had, okay? There's been a lot of money chasing her for a long time. I don't think she really even cares about the situation of small businesses in this country and small public companies. Now, that may piss off some people for me to say this, but I'm saying, actions speak louder than words. It's always regulation, 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 enforcement, 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 and then when no one's looking, they don't care. So my logic is that, this is crazy. Because I thought Bush Cheney, Gore Lieberman was bad. Hell no. I mean, you have protests, you have people lining up to get registered to vote.
Wait a minute, Chris. You mean you're not going to vote for the guy who tried to copyright "You're fired"?
Yeah, no, I'm probably going to go with party lines again this year. I know that, the libertarians are probably not going to win, but you got to be true to what you ultimately believe. And my take is most people are libertarians, they just don't even know it yet. They've done these surveys where, there's no political affiliation, you answer a bunch of questions, and most people turn out to be libertarians. But I think it will be a big movement over time. There's a lot of good guys in the space, and I think we'll move up rank. But think about it. Since Perot, I believe it was 1992, okay? Since Perot, there really hasn't been a third-party candidate. That's what this country needs.
Well, I thought Bernie Sanders was as close to a third-party candidate as you're going to get.
What I think is going to happen is, it looks like Bernie is probably, his chances of really winning it are probably less than 5-10% now. So there's probably going to be some type of sweetheart deal where they integrate him within Clinton, and they're going to get his votes. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters, and I can see why.
So there's something happening in a little over 30 days from now. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, we'll have the Invitational. It'll be our 6th. We started last month, and the ramp has taken place. It's the smaller names as opposed to December where the names get a little bit bigger. And, like anything, this season in MicroCap, we just had a lot of events. So the consensus is, it's graduation week. People may be a little tired, a little fatigued after all these events. We think that it's going to be our strongest showing. We always believe that. We think that the companies that are coming are going to be very well received. But we're probably going to be making a change to its scheduled date next year. The dilemma is, where the hell do you move it? Because if you move it 1 week, it's earnings. No one wants to come. And if you move it another week, it's spring break for half the country. And if you move it another week, it's tax week. So it's a very small subset of dates. But look, you started the month out strong here. I think we're going to take that momentum. The B. Riley conference is in a few weeks. We're going to probably pay a visit there, and then it's going to be Markham in New York on the 1st and 2nd of June, and then we'll have the LD Micro Invitational on the 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Do we get a rest after your conference?
No. You're gonna get a rest, but the take is, again, because of the index, because of the website, I don't look at it as, oh, look, you have a real benchmark, you have an index. It is a resource. It is a tool. It is something that can benefit you, whether you trade in the microcap space or you don't, or you're just someone on the sidelines. My take is, our focus now isn't events. Our focus is making tools that allow people to get better information, better data, more transparency on their names. So that's where we're going. That's where LD is going, and we think that the early results there are very promising.
So, Chris, it's very interesting. Here we have StockNewsNow.com. That's the, microcap news source. We do these SNN Live interviews with these companies. We put out press releases for them. We try our best to be a good tool for the issuers. And the investors thrive because they come to our website to look and see what we're putting up, to look and see these companies that we interview. I see why they're going to your website, because they get a benchmark for the market in
Well,
microcaps.
look, we're both good, we're both pursuing the same thing. We want to be invaluable to everybody. You know, the person, the potential investor, the agent, the underwriter, the issuer, the executives. It's a tough proposition to fill because you can't make everyone happy all the time. But the take is this business needs more of this. You know, they need to have the resources to make the best possible decision. And here's the thing. Most times people disagree with me. And instead of me getting upset, I'm actually happy because they're telling me exactly what they're thinking as opposed to, giving me, some sugar water or, blowing smoke up my gluteus. So the consensus is, I think that if they look at MicroCap 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 50 years from now, they'll look back at this era as, man, it was tough. But these guys, the guys who stayed in it, I'm hoping will come the victors. I would not be doing this every single day if I didn't think that the end goal was to make it better and better and better for everybody else. When I was 17, 18, 19 years old, I only had 2 or 3 resources to use. Now you have 300, And the take is God only knows what's going to happen 10 years from now. You're going to get more and more transparency, and I think it's good for everybody. I think it's good for the government, because now there's more tools that people can see to kind of get a consensus of what they want to invest in. It's good for all.
Let's get a website, ladies and gentlemen, from Mr. Chris Lahiji.
Thank you. ldmicro.com. Take a look. The thing is, you guys, just go on the site and screw around. Click on different buttons, open things, close things, just kind of navigate. The trick is you have to see everything before making a final decision. That's what we've learned. A lot of people only use it for surface knowledge. There's a lot of things that you can do. Don't be afraid. Scroll around. Click on stuff. You'll be really happy with what you find.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Lahiji, LD Micro. I'm Shelly Craft. This is SNN Live. We're at the Growth Capital Expo, Caesars Palace in Las Vegas 2006.